What the hell is happening with Real Madrid?
Things are going from bad to worse at Real Madrid.
This club is an absolute disaster. Their downfall is officially here. What has happened to Real Madrid?
I no longer recognize my club. Real Madrid went from three-peating the UCL to three-peating beef across the entire team.
You know, every club has people falling out. The important thing is why. And it seems that Real Madrid, it is the blame game.
Seriously, this is one of the craziest collapses in football history.
Madrid are unhappy, of course they are. It wouldn't be natural if they weren't. For Mbappé, the real emotion is about to hit them. They're out of the Champions League at the quarter-final stage again. And I can't, Andy, believe the way in which they finished it.
We're talking about the greatest club in history. 15 Champions League titles. The home of the Galacticos legends, a team that won the Champions League just 2 years ago. But now we have to ask ourselves, is this even the same team anymore?
You caught me cooking. Not only my food, but this Real Madrid team right here, right now. I'm sick to death of this team. I'm sick to death of it.
Drama after drama in the dressing room. A full-blown civil war of egos is happening at Real Madrid right now.
Now, you may be wondering what is going on with Kylian Mbappé and Real Madrid. 30 million fans, Cave, want Mbappé gone. Unlike Real Madrid fans to be like this, why do they want rid of him?
The second story is that Rudiger, they are saying he slapped out of Alvaro Carreras a few months ago.
So this is genuinely crazy. Real Madrid is at the point where two of their best midfielders this season are fighting with each other, and Fede Valverde left the training ground in a wheelchair.
The most dangerous thing at Real Madrid isn't their opponents. It's Real Madrid themselves.
Every player at Madrid right now is the problem, Max. There seems to be some type of issues coming out. There is no respect for managers. There is no respect for each other from what's coming out to the media.
This is a club that was built on discipline, sacrifice and winning mentality. Now, they look no different from a bunch of clowns fighting each other for the spotlight.
Welcome back to Season 2, Episode 102. Welcome back to Keeping Up with Real Madrid, where we have become a laughing stock, bro. We have become a reality TV show. Forget Keeping Up with the Kardashians, fam. Kardashians, Keeping Up with Real Madrid is the new show. It's the new show that everyone needs to watch.
The story of the dictator Mbappé is no longer unfamiliar at the Santiago Bernabeu this season. In the last 6 games where Mbappé started, Real Madrid have only won once. Just one win, guys. Their pressing stats are sitting in the middle of the La Liga table, even worse than some mid-table teams. This is completely unacceptable for a club of Real Madrid's level. They've recorded more than 55 injuries this season, and this isn't bad luck. This is a clear sign of a system collapsing from the inside. Real Madrid are running less, pressing worse, and fighting weaker than every opponent they face. But these stats have become almost normal compared to what's been happening in the dressing room lately.
The situation is very tense at Real Madrid. I was confirming to you a few days ago how there was a fight between two players already a few months ago. The story came out of Marca and is fully confirmed. Yesterday, Fede Valverde and Aurélien Tchouaméni had a fight. Fede Valverde got hit and went straight to the hospital. Then he returned to Valdebebas after that together with his family, but the situation is very, very tense. A straight punch from Tchouaméni to Valverde, and Valverde losing consciousness and then going to the hospital after suffering even a cut on his head. It's not the first time this is happening this season. It's been a difficult season at Real Madrid, on but also off the pitch. It's true that in February, Toni Rüdiger and Álvaro Carreras had problems, had very difficult moments. These two players had more problems over the following months, but then they've been able to sort the situation. Now is Valverde and Tchouaméni.
The clash between Rüdiger and Carreras got physical inside the dressing room after a defeat. Carreras himself indirectly confirmed it with a post on his personal Instagram. On top of that, Mbappé keeps arguing with the assistant coaches, pointing fingers and blaming everyone else after every loss.
How can we lose against these Germans? One more loss and you are out. You crazy fool. All you can do is throw ice cubes and run like a maniac. And you, all you can do is cry like a baby.
young players like Gula and Carreras. Guys who haven't achieved anything significant in their careers yet have started complaining about playing time, demanding the ball unreasonably and showing disrespect. Captain Carvajal has openly shown his dissatisfaction, refusing to play or faking injuries. Players are using social media to push their own narratives, putting pressure on the manager and ignoring the coach's authority. This is no longer a team fighting together for one common goal. This is a ticking time bomb, counting down to explosion.
The Real Madrid players refused to be coached, and the players rebelled against it, certainly the big players.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And then when it's not results, they blame the manager. They're sneaky. They blame the referees. They blame everybody but themselves.
Real Madrid have gone through many different Galacticos generations. They have always been a club packed with world-class superstars. That was one of the key factors that helped them, together with Zidane, create those unimaginable 3 Champions League titles in a row. They have also been through many crises since the post-Ronaldo era and had to fight hard to rediscover their identity. They rebuilt from the ashes and once again dominated Europe. But I can guarantee you one thing, what is happening now is completely different from any crisis in the past. This is a structural collapse from top to bottom, from the president's office, through the coaching staff, all the way down to every single player on the pitch. The Mbappé and Vinícius problem is basically an unsolvable equation because both of them want to do exactly the same thing on the field. They both want to cut in from the left, dribble past defenders, create magical individual moments, and most importantly, both want to be the main star of the team.
Big questions as to whether or not Vinny and Mbappe can play together. Vinny had his best spell when Mbappe was out.
I mean, I agree. We've seen Vinny not be at his top level when Mbappe's in the lineup. They both want to shift, like you mentioned, they both want to shift to that left side. There's only enough space for one of them on that side. And when you're out of that position, don't feel as comfortable, Vinny is clearly struggling with that. And I think that's just part of the issue. The team is going to struggle back from the midfield as well.
The issue is that neither Mbappé nor Vinícius is a pure striker like Holland or Lewandowski. They are creators, players who create opportunities rather than pure finishers.
Stuff that we spotted all together from what Bellingham was trying to do and what your 9, Mbappe is supposed to do. It's always, more often than not, I won't say always, but more often than not, Bellingham trying to make the run, trying to make the team play, running in behind. That's him again trying to break the line. That's your 9. That's your 10. Again, who's going to make the run in behind? Who's going to try to go? It's him. It's Bellingham going, not your number 9. Again, who's making the box? Him again. And I think there is a little frustration. And this one for me is actually, look at him. Look at your 9. Look at on the other side. Same. Your 9 is not going. Your 10-ish is going. And I know it can happen sometimes, but not all the time.
If you look at the statistics, you'll see a very clear pattern. Whenever one of them is missing, the other explodes in performance. When Vinícius plays without Mbappé, he performs at Ballon d'Or level. When Mbappé has the stage to himself without Vinícius, he becomes one of the best goal machines in the world. But when both on the pitch together, they destroy each other, fighting for space, fighting for the ball, and fighting for the central role.
You know he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, he's not, of course.
They can't play together. I'm not convinced. In order to win a Champions League, I'm not convinced that they can play together. To be competitive in La Liga-ish, okay, right? But for the standard this club has, for me, I know that Papa Perez has his own agenda, and ultimately what he says goes.
Yeah.
But for the sake of the club, if you're going to build a club around him, they can't coexist for me.
But the problem is much worse than just tactical incompatibility. Both of them refuse to do the dirty work that modern football demands. In today's game, pressing is vital. Look at Bayern Munich, Manchester City, Arsenal, or PSG. All the top teams press like wild animals. Elite wingers perform around 15 to 20 presses per match. But Mbappé and Vinícius, their numbers don't even reach double digits. And when your biggest stars don't press, why should anyone else?
And what do we know for certain about Real Madrid attacking players, in particular Vini Júnior and Kylian Mbappé? That they're not gonna chase, that they're not gonna defend. Nobody pressing the ball. Then it becomes a whole lot easier for PSG to do what they do better than everybody else in the world.
At the beginning, when Mbappé first joined, people were still patient and said he just needed time to adapt to the new team, the new league, and new teammates. But as the months passed, the truth started to show. His individual form gradually stabilised, but the team remained disorganised and lacked chemistry. As they entered the decisive phase of the season, the defeats kept piling up, and the body language of the players became increasingly negative. You could clearly see the frustration and dissatisfaction on their faces.
Has Mbappé ever been a team player? So he's never been part of a team. And if there's one thing footballers need when they're not at their best and they're going through a tough time, is the teammates. But if you make yourself completely separate from everybody else, it does affect the way everybody else around you plays for you, looks at you, and holds you to a different standard.
The peak came with the Sardinia incident last week, when Mbappé decided to go on a luxurious vacation in Sardinia with his girlfriend, while the team was facing a full-blown crisis right before the most important El Clasico match. Real Madrid fans were furious, seeing it as a serious lack of professionalism from Mbappé. On top of that, there are many rumours that he often arrives late to team meals, doesn't cheer or motivate teammates while on the bench, constantly argues with coaching staff, and is becoming more and more isolated from the rest of the group. Former players have started speaking out, especially Arbeloa, who is currently the interim coach, and he made some pointed comments aimed at the French player.
No hemos creado lo que es el Real Madrid con jugadores que salen al campo vestidos de smoking, sino con jugadores que acaban con la camiseta llena de sudor, de barro, de esfuerzo, de sacrificio, de constancia. Y como este equipo siempre trae a los mejores jugadores del mundo y cuando entienden lo que es el Real Madrid, cuáles son sus valores, qué es lo que lo ha hecho grande, pues se junta el talento con el compromiso y el esfuerzo y eso hace que seamos el mejor equipo del mundo, pero sobre todo por lo que somos y por cómo hemos construido la historia del Real Madrid.
He doesn't mention directly about Mbappé, but everybody knows who he was talking about. The truly insane part in all of this is that Florentino Perez, the most powerful president of the club, is doing absolutely nothing to fix the situation. The reason is simple. In Real Madrid's power structure, the president holds absolute authority, and Perez has a long history of protecting his Galacticos more than protecting his managers. He interferes in the dressing room, spoils the stars, and never allows the coach to enforce strict discipline. So the prisoners have started ruling the prison.
Florentino Perez is guilty for that. He's the one who has to put down the hierarchy that every club needs. And he has to step back from the dressing room, stay in his office, not lock the door, and I don't want to see any player complaining. Put one boss in the dressing room, and the boss decides for everything, and you don't overturn his decisions, otherwise you're screwed.
The Real Madrid dressing room has become a completely toxic environment, even worse than the first Galacticos era, which everyone knows ended in heavy failure. Factions have formed clearly, with deep divisions between veterans and young players, between those who want to fight and those who only want to shine individually. The French star is becoming more and more isolated from the group. Players care more about protecting their egos than about the team's benefit. On the pitch, you can see total chaos. They can't defend, can't press, can't create consistent scoring chances, and most importantly, they no longer fight as a united team. Everyone criticises others, but no one is willing to take responsibility for the collective failure. And now they are facing the prospect of going 2 consecutive seasons without a single trophy, something this mighty Real Madrid has rarely faced in the last 20 years.
They're not in the Champions League anymore, Tom. They're not in, well, it's looking unlikely in La Liga to win the title there. They're out of Copa del Rey. Second season now, they've not won a major trophy. How far off are they from what we expect to see from Real Madrid?
The massive disappointment. The expectations at this club are high, as they should be given the roster that they have and the spend that they have.
Florentino Perez's outdated Galactico model, a model he stubbornly continues to follow despite its repeated failures in the past. He builds the squad like he's playing fantasy football. Just buy the biggest superstars and hope they magically fit together and succeed. There's no thought about tactical balance, clearly defined roles for each player, or who will do the dirty work that no one wants, but is extremely necessary. Next is the player power issue, which has spiraled completely out of control. The players now have more power than the coach. They can sabotage tactics and go straight to the president when they're unhappy. There's also a total lack of team sacrifice culture. Look at PSG as an example. When the whole team was willing to put egos aside and fight together for one ultimate goal, how far did they go? It's no longer a team built for one superstar. It's a team where anyone can be the star. Just listen to what the 2024 Ballon d'Or winner said.
How do you have so much energy? The way you press, you play one wing on the right, on the left, central. What are you eating for dinner? I want to know, please.
Non, c'est simple. Si tu presses pas, si tu défends pas, bah Luis Enrique va te mettre sur le banc.
Okay.
If you don't press, if you don't run.
Luis Enrique puts you on the bench.
Now they are ready to climb back to the top of Europe again after 2 years without Mbappé. But what about Real Madrid? Back-to-back trophyless seasons. At Real Madrid right now, everyone wants to be the hero, everyone wants to score the decisive goal, everyone wants to be the centre of the spotlight, and no one wants to be the supporting actor. Mbappé is a world-class player, no one can deny his talent, but he is simply not the right piece for what Real Madrid needs. They needed a Haaland or a Benzema type, a pure striker who just finishes chances and helps balance the team's space and attract defenders. Instead, they bought another creator who wants the same position, the same space, and the same role as Vinícius. All this evidence points to one clear conclusion: the current structure of Real Madrid cannot bring success.
The power trip took over, ego got bigger, the players started to run the football club, and they wouldn't allow the coach to coach the team. Real Madrid needs a complete, in my personal opinion, a new identification, a complete restructure, where they give more power to the management. This is not a Galacticos team anymore. How many Galacticos are in there for you?
Talent without structure is simply chaos. This has been proven hundreds of times in football history. You can have all the biggest superstars in the world on the pitch, but without clear leadership, clearly defined roles, a culture of team sacrifice, and a transparent accountability system, you will end up with nothing but talented individuals wasting their potential. The problem at Real Madrid is not any single player. It's not even tactics or formation. The core issue is that they have lost their own identity. The great Real Madrid teams in history, Di Stefano's, Zidane's, Cristiano Ronaldo's, all had a burning hunger, ironclad unity, and were willing to die for each other on the pitch. But this current team, they just collect high salaries, chase Instagram likes, and care more about their personal image than collective glory. Real Madrid desperately needs a strong, no-nonsense manager with full authority to restore discipline and break the toxic player power. Florentino Perez's top priority should be Jose Mourinho, the ultimate disciplinarian who has never been afraid of any superstar. Mourinho knows exactly how to handle massive egos in the dressing room and always demands total control. Another option is Jurgen Klopp, the master of passion and intense playing style, though bringing him to the Bernabeu would be extremely difficult. Didier Deschamps is also a strong candidate thanks to his excellent management of the French star with the national team. He is pragmatic, experienced, and could be available after the World Cup. Whoever takes the hot seat, the first task must be to immediately eliminate the dark power of the players. They must draw clear lines: who sacrifices, who creates, and who finishes. An iron rule must be enforced. Anyone who doesn't follow it, no matter how big the name, will warm the bench. The club needs a cultural revolution from zero. Real Madrid may also need a proper centre-forward, a Rodri-type destroyer, or defensive reinforcements. But all those tactical changes will be meaningless without a solid foundation of discipline. Trophies never belong to the team with the most talent. They always belong to the most united team, the team where everyone knows their role and accepts it, where personal egos are left outside the dressing room door. Real Madrid has forgotten this basic lesson and is now paying a heavy price. This is still Real Madrid, the greatest club in history, and they have overcome worse times before. But it will require brutal honesty, painful decisions, and courageous leadership that puts the club above all individual stars. So, can Real Madrid do it and rise again? Because if they don't, this won't just be remembered as Mbappé season. It will be remembered as the moment the king falls. If you enjoy our video, don't forget to hit like to help this video reach to other football lovers, and hit the subscribe button to follow for more interesting videos about football stories. See you.